So as shocking as this might sound, I have never read a Colleen Hoover book. I don't know why. There's no real reason, but I know her books are extremely popular. So we're going to do a little Colleen Hoover reading vlog. I'm currently at the library waiting to get in. I don't know if I want to commit to purchasing her books. I don't know. I feel like as an author, she's like hit or miss with people is what I'm gathering from reading some things. I'm definitely going to be getting It Ends With Us. I know that's one of her popular ones. It's also slightly controversial, I guess, due to the relationship portion of the book. And my very dear friend recommended Verity to me very long ago, like a year ago, and I have yet to read it. So I'm going to definitely get those two. And then we'll see what other ones I will come across while I'm at the library. I'm going to go to the current library I'm at right now, and then another one because I have some books on hold there. So I'm going to also peruse the Colleen Hoover section there. So come along. Let's have some fun. Let's read a little Colleen and see if we like it. You guys are in a bit of an odd place, but that was a successful first trip. I got both books that I wanted. So we got It Ends With Us and Verity. So then I perused the little Colleen Hoover section that they had. There wasn't too much to choose from, so I'm going to go to the second library. I'm finding that I'm not really drawn to her covers so much, and that kind of is what gets me going. I like seeing a nice cover, and then it gets me to read what the book is about. So the ones that were at this particular library, they were all right. Nothing that drew me to want to try and read. I do want to get one more, I think. I don't know how much Colleen Hoover I'll be able to read, but I think 3 is a good number. So on to the next library. Okay, the last library I went to was a dud on Colleen Hoover. They only had Verity, which I think you guys saw in a clip. So that was kind of a bummer. So we're just going to go with 2. I'm sure I'll get a feel for her writing after 2. I did just stop off at Share Tea. I don't know if you guys have one near you. It's like boba tea. This one in particular, I got something different that I usually don't get. It was mango green tea milk tea, and I added pudding to it instead of boba. So let's give it a try. Oh, that's really good. I prefer when the boba shops have pudding instead of the boba balls. It's almost like a custard. It's so good. This is really good. Very refreshing, much needed. So it is the next day. After hiking yesterday, I was so exhausted. I just read the entire night and I got pretty far into the book. I'm almost halfway there. I'm at 156. And before I talk about the book and my thoughts so far, I want to talk about Colleen Hoover as a writer. I can definitely see why she sells a lot of books and why people enjoy her books, because she writes very well. This book got me hooked from the beginning. The storyline flows really well. It's just very well written, and I enjoy that part. It's very quick. So the book is basically following Lily, her present life, and then there are flashbacks to her past life. The book kind of starts off with her talking about her father's funeral that she had just went to and how she is in a sense grateful that he is passed on because he was abusive to her mother. So we see her being introduced to Ryle, I believe is how you pronounce his name, correct me if I'm wrong. So we're seeing that love blossom and seeing how that is progressing. I'm like very 50-50 about him. I don't think he has proper boundaries for what she wants, and that's kind of what's making me a little iffy about him. And then in the past timeline, it's kind of showing more of what went on in her house, along with seeing her first love, which was Atlas. And I got to the part in the book where they meet in present day, where Atlas comes back. And that is on the back of the book, so it's not a spoiler. Reading about Atlas in the past tense, I definitely like his character, how he understands what Lily's going through and is a good comfort for her in that time of her life. So I definitely appreciate that. I'm excited to see where the story goes, to see what happens with her and Ryle. Is it going to be a forever romance? I often wonder with books like this if a cycle will be repeated in her present day life. In a sense, like, can Ryle become abusive towards her later on in the relationship? That's where my head is going with this. Just because of him not respecting kind of some of her boundaries at the beginning of the book. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to keep reading and we'll see what happens. All of a sudden it just got really dark in the room, but I just finished chapter 14 and my prediction of like the cycle being repeated has just possibly come to fruition. I don't really have an opinion on it because I've never been through a situation like this before, and I can't say like Lily should do this because I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation, but I can say that I am a true believer. If someone shows you who they are, you believe them. So I'll leave that at that. Kind of have an idea of what's going to happen moving forward. I think that since Atlas is introduced into the present day, I have a feeling that Ryle will probably do something again, and hopefully Atlas will help Lily through it. That's my prediction. We'll see. It's a tough book. I feel like these last 150 pages are going to be pretty tough. Okay, here we are. It is the next day. I finished It Ends With Us. This book drained me emotionally and mentally. I'm very stuck in my feelings about this. Not that I don't know how to feel, but I'm just trying to process what I just read. And it is like a sensitive matter that happens. I wish there were some sort of trigger warnings at the beginning because I probably would not have read it had I seen the trigger warnings. I think my first issue with this, and maybe where the controversy lies within this book, is that to me, it's not a romance. This is not a romance book. You get glimpses of it, maybe in the flashback between Lily and Atlas, but her and Ryle, that's not romance. And when we get to a point where Ryle is explaining to Lily why he's like this, I don't know if Colleen wanted us to have empathy for him. I most certainly did not, because I don't think it excuses anything that he did in this book. The writing to Ellen DeGeneres was a little weird, I will say that, but I kind of read it more so as a Dear Diary instead of saying Dear Ellen, and I liked Atlas a lot. I think he really had the romance moments that she was hoping for in Ryle. Now let's talk a little bit about the ending. So I'm glad that she ended it the way she did. My one issue is that Ryle kind of was like untouched in this whole thing. You know, she didn't call the police. She didn't file any sort of reports. Yes, he lost the romance aspect, but he still is having his daughter in his life. So for me, I'm a little bugged by that aspect of it. Because who's to say he can date somebody else and then her daughter is witnessing him do these things to someone else. I mean, either way, I just don't like how that part of it ended. I'm thinking about like future things that aren't even in this book. I know there is another book called It Starts With Us, but I do not think I will be reading it. I think I'm just gonna close it and not think about these characters anymore. That's my goal, is to just let it go. Overall, I'm giving this a 2-star because it was fairly easy to read. I liked Lily and I liked Atlas, but other than that, the story was a little too much for me emotionally. So today the goal is to start reading Verity. The back of the book doesn't give me too much to go off of, so I don't know what to expect from it. So we'll see. It's just a little over 300 pages. Hopefully I get it done pretty quickly. The writing, the print looks pretty large as well. So we'll see how it goes. Day. So I did get a good little chunk of reading done. I read about 90 pages. I'm assuming this is like a suspense thriller kind of book. I'm getting that vibe. It follows Lowen, who is an author, and she gets approached by Jeremy, who is wanting somebody to take over his wife, Verity's book series that she started. She got into a really bad accident, so she can't continue to write it. So he asked Lowen if she can write the rest of the series for them. She ultimately decides that she's going to do it because she's kind of in a pinch financially, and she goes to their house to go to Verity's like office and kind of get a feel for her writing and like how this series is supposed to progress. And Lowen gets like a very weird vibe from the house. Like it feels eerie, and I'm like right away, I'm like, get out, don't stay there, just end the book right now. Like, you know. So something's gonna go down, I'm assuming, in this house. I'm assuming it's gonna take place within the few days that she's there. Lowen, while doing research, comes across Verity's autobiography that she kind of wrote or started to write. So we're kind of getting 2 books in one. We get chapters from the autobiography and then Lowen's point of view. I don't know if it's because I've read so many thrillers, but I'm like, did Verity write this autobiography or did the husband write it? And it makes it seem like it's Verity that's writing it. Is that like too far-fetched? I don't know, but that's my prediction so far. But I'm only at chapter 6, so I don't know what's going on. But it is a short book, so I'm hoping to get it done today. I'm gonna keep reading and we'll see how it goes. Let's talk Verity. So I did finish. It was a very quick read. Ultimately, after a couple days of sitting on it, I did decide that I feel this is a 3-star book, at least for me. To not go into like too much detail and make it short and sweet for you guys, I felt like there were some things that let me down as far as the suspense factor goes. One of the things being the lock on the outside of the door. I feel like it was such a built-up moment that I thought something was going to happen with that, and it kind of let me down a little bit. I didn't really understand why Crew was involved in the story. I didn't see his character as necessary. And then the ending, I'm beginning to think that Colleen Hoover likes her audience to be split in half in her books of how to feel. So for me, the ending, it was okay. It wasn't something I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Ultimately, what I think is if Verity can think these things and write them out, you know, it's kind of a sick mind. So that's how I'm going to leave my thoughts on Verity. So after reading 2 Colleen Hoover books, like I mentioned, I do feel like she likes to cause a little 50-50 between her audience of how to interpret her books, and that's totally fine. I think that overall she writes pretty quick reading books, in my opinion. I finished both of these in 24 hours. So there's something to say about that. I also want to mention, because it might come up in the comments, I did not know anything about this book. I didn't know about any of the characters going into it. It was my first Colleen Hoover book. And I will say I did not like Ryle from the beginning. There was something off about him. He did not respect her boundaries from the beginning, and I think Lily unfortunately romanticized those moments, and that's where the problem for me lied in this book. So the ultimate question, will I read Colleen Hoover again? I don't think so. I think I'm okay with not reading her novels going forward. That's not to say she's a bad writer, and if you like her writing, I can see why. I understand it. It's just not for me. There's a lot of drama that happens in her books. And that's not to say I don't like drama. It's just very emotionally draining drama that I do not like. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this style of video, this reading vlog. Let me know in the comments below if you've read either book and what your thoughts are on it. I would love to hear about it. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.